All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Glad to be with you this morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on our YouTube channel and Instagram page. Thank you for being part of GAR Capital. 10 years of service. Thank you so much. Forever grateful. Let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot to go over. Didn't do a video yesterday just for the simple fact that it was just choppy and not much was going on. If I would have known that we would have had just that big fall flush yesterday after that 20-year bond auction, yeah, I could have talked a little bit. But yesterday, I think the questions mainly were about Tesla. And we didn't trade Tesla yesterday. We didn't hold calls or puts or anything like that. We are getting a big boost this morning. I think about 14% on Tesla post earnings. I did talk about it a little bit on the Market Watch channel, where I just said basically simply, I said, this is just what I think. This was right at 4 o'clock. And I said, plenty of bad news pricing to Tesla. And with today's price action, I think it was oversold. But again, it did bounce, but I wasn't going to trade it or anything. So here we are. Let's take a look at futures post Tesla earnings. Dow futures down 39 points. NASDAQ's up 0.85%. S&P is up 0.44%. The Russell's up 0.32%. 10-year Treasury yields are slightly down this morning. Dollar is continuing to climb higher, but pulling back a bit. The VIX never broke above 20 yesterday, even with that flush, 1873 on the VIX. Crude oil is up 0.68%. We had a big inventory build yesterday reported, 71.26 per barrel. Gasoline futures, $2.05. I believe there was reported that like 30 states now in the United States have gasoline less than $3 a gallon. Gold futures up 0.81%, 27.51. Silver futures are up 1.17%. We took those SOV calls on Monday anyways, so great job. Copper up 0.44% this morning. So commodities are getting a little bit of a push thanks to the dollar. Even dollar yen is pulling back 151.99. Bitcoin's up 1.69%. Ethereum up nearly 1% this morning. That is where we are. So let's take a look at Tesla real quick because I'm pretty sure everyone's going to ask about it. And I just want to initiate first by saying I would not chase this. It's up 14%. Overbought on the 1 hour. Overbought on the 4 hour. Let it churn. If you're an investor, you're cheering it. Great. But remember, we had two other catalysts. We had the delivery reports a couple of weeks ago, and then we also had the robotaxi. The stock kept falling and falling and falling, and then include yesterday's fall as well, where it went from a right around, I think yesterday we opened up, 218, and we got down to around 212, so we're at $6 move. This bounce here, oversold bounce, in my opinion, is what I thought. Looking at the chart here, we're really just back to where we were 2 Thursdays ago. So if we expand Tesla here, remember, we were looking for what? We were looking for 225.37 during market hours to play it, but with the earnings report coming up, the implied volatility was very high, meaning it was going to cost a lot. So 225.37, we're way above that now. Really what we're looking for is to retest that double top at 265. Does it mean that we go right off the rip and just trade the 265 calls? No. Let's see how tomorrow brings, but Tesla, I'm not touching today, regardless of what happens, just for the fact that it's so expensive. So even buying for next week when you have a ton of earnings reports next week as well, I just don't think the risk reward here on Tesla is good enough for your capital or mine. So we'll keep an eye on it, sure, but trading it is not going to happen, at least on my end. Now, again, if you guys have calls, congratulations, well done, or you're trading it, best of luck, but I think it's best that we just skip it for now. I really want to talk about metaverse. Oh man, yesterday. Now, this thing was a tough one. We had puts. And yesterday we were above the 20-day moving average. Very hard to defend when the signals are red. Trust me, it was down 81% yesterday. And of course, the feeling in the server is, oh man, we're screwed. It's going to be tough to get that back. It never reverses. But this is why you stay in and you watch how the movie ends. Look at that big move. We got up to 585. It rejected. Got as low as 562. The stock fell nearly, $23. We caught all of it to the downside. Thankfully, with runners, that thing went from negative 81% to plus 85%. So take a look here and you could see, oh man, this thing was ugly for a minute. You could see just yesterday on the 22nd, or 2 days ago, those 560 puts were minus 80%. But we stuck with it. We were resilient with it. We stuck with the analysis. Well done. Just want to give a big shout out to all the members. Congratulations. And we don't create these trades to annoy you or to stress you out. That's not the point. It's just the market sometimes. It gets very choppy. But like I've said before, once the election is over, guys, and we have a little clarity of future tax code, regulatory code, whatever the Congress is as well on post-election day, then we will know where the market's going to go. We can price in stocks accordingly. It's going to be two different ways to look at things depending on the candidate. You can vote however you want. At the end of the day, markets are going to go higher. So just understand that. Stocks will go higher whoever you vote for. It's really what we're looking for here is the big picture. What will this administration, whether it be Trump's or Harris's administration, what will they bring to the table? What will that change? Certain sectors will be affected based on who gets elected, obviously. Now, if you're trying to trade the election, I would recommend that you don't. It's going to be very volatile, so I wouldn't trade futures that day. I wouldn't have any risk open for the election day itself unless it's for December or later on in November where things will turn around. I fully expect the election day, regardless who wins, will be a sell the news event. We may run up to it and then sell off after it. It happened in 2016. 2020, we went ahead and bounced back post-election as well. But again, that was delayed due to the possibility, I guess, at that time that it was stolen or whatever that was going on. It took a while for us to get the official electoral results in January, but that was 2020. With that being said, again, right now, all we're doing, guys, is taking advantage of small moves. Again, a lot of chop. Take a look at NASDAQ here. Yes, we had a push down yesterday, down to around 20,125, and now we're at 20,400. We're back to where we were Tuesday morning. What can you do? And it's just not enough for us to take advantage at this moment unless you're scalping. So again, just be very careful. This environment will not last forever. We're counting down to November. Once that's done, November is going to be fine. I really just want to let that out and make sure that everyone understands that. Okay, let's go ahead and real quick, I wanted to go over some of the pre-market movers as well. Let me see if I can find that. The Tesla earnings, I know that everyone saw that. That's on the live market blog. So if you are interested in reading a bit more about Tesla's earnings and the positives and the negatives, please go to our live market blog. It is scrolling at the bottom. You can read it on your own leisure. We're also working on a new ebook. The ebook will be coming out. That'll be free for everybody. It's going to explain a lot of things in terms of options, kind of a couple examples for it. Take a look at workshops and webinars. This is free for everybody on the server. Again, breakdown of what are some of the terminologies you need to learn, what's the difference between an SMA and EMA, simple moving average and exponential. Also talking about OPEX, what does that mean? Also some lingo and a cheat sheet of things that you need to understand before you ever trade options or day trade. Macroeconomic stuff, GDP, services, PMIs. Everyone want to understand what an NFP is or ADP private payrolls. It's all there. But yes, take a look at workshop and webinars. Some really great free resources for you to take a look at. I'm working on getting it all in an ebook together. It will be free for everybody. And that should help everyone. Think of it as a textbook for a lecture. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. All right, Sean is asking about XOM. XOM calls. You can see how choppy it's been. Not a lot of action. I've been here before. There is a gap here at 122. Let's see if we can break above 120. That'd be too close. Probably 123 if anything. All right, first thing we want to do is break above 120.70. So I'm going to put 121 as an alert. If that does break, you can see this has been that resistance before. Remember when we traded that cup and handle? Well, it took a while. It only took 4 months later. If you guys remember that were with us earlier in the spring. And again, 121.02, there is a slight gap to fill 122.48, but I would say target the 125s to 124. Really depends on the volume. Painless is asking about BTC and Mara. Excuse me. Let's take a look at BTC. And we know what this is. This is all about the dollar. Yes, elections. If Trump is leading in the polls, Bitcoin tends to get up in terms of sympathy as he's more pro-Bitcoin than anything else. If you're looking at Kamala Harris, she also has backing of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban also likes Bitcoin. So again, you could vote whoever you want. That you're not here for that. The point is, in terms of Bitcoin, we're looking for around 72,000. If we could stay above 70,000, that'd be a great spot. But guys, the dollar is going to fall regardless. It is. They're going to cut rates eventually, and they have already. So this is really just based on the dollar denomination. Yes, Bitcoin will hit 100,000 eventually. That's just based on inflation, which we're always going to have. So again, this is a dollar proxy. 100,000 by next year is a possibility, sure. 70,000 by the end of the year is absolutely going to, I think we're going to hit all-time highs above 75,000 by December 31st, no doubt. But would you trade that? There's going to be some volatility if you do. Above 20 on Mara, then we can take a look at some options, but we're really just waiting for the election, guys. And I hate to front run that because no one knows who's going to win. People have predictions. There's prediction markets. There's betting markets. No one knows until it happens. We may have good feelings. We may say, yes, I'm very confident. But until that result is done and certified, we don't know. And that's really it. So it's very difficult to trade certain names like a DJT or a Bitcoin or certain stocks out there that may be moving during the election. You're going to get burned. It's just, especially with options, time decay and the IV is just going to hit you. So it's best to just wait. Just wait. Amen, Meta. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, thoughts on Apple levels? Yes, there was some talk that iPhone demand is coming down. It is down a little bit this morning, even though NASDAQ is up. What are we looking for here in Apple? Well, that's going to be tough. 221.30 would be your 100-day. So we're not below the 20 as of yet. I would prefer that if we broke below the 20-day, right around 229.86, then we can see what we could do. So maybe we should put an alert there. I would say the prudent way would be to break the lows of 227.63. If that can break, then we can target 220 puts, possibly the 225 puts if we want to keep it a little closer. But yeah, this is still a bullish chart. I mean, we could tell it's not exactly bearish. Possible double top, sure, very similar to Tesla, what they had. But we're just going to wait and let the market come to us. But Apple, and there's nothing yet. Let's take a look at Rivian. Anything here? All right, Rivian is up this morning due to Tesla's earnings. Fair. Same sector, same kind of company. Electric vehicles. Anything here that we're looking at? Below 10, it's a short to around 826 if you get there. So yeah, I would say below 10 on Rivian if you weren't a short. Let's take a look at Meta. Meta, recovery from drop yesterday. I think what you want to do possibly is do the double dip where you play the puts and then you're playing the calls. I would not do that at this point. In order for us to go long, remember the short side, remember I talked about this, 1, 2, 3, that triple top on the 1 hour, that level of resistance, that kind of this kind of range that we've had, you got to get above 585 before we do anything with Meta. Keep in mind, they report earnings next week, so I would skip. Same thing, Lewis. Microsoft reports next week. So any kind of calls that you're going to do, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it just to walk into that club so you can trade. I would skip it. Do not trade Microsoft ahead of earnings. Let's just see what happens. Nike, let's take a look at it. All right, apparel. Yeah, we were looking for that 93.23, rejected perfectly. That's the gap fill. Really can't do anything here. Let's see the daily. If there's anything that stands out. Oh, yeah. How about 85? If we break 85, we can play that gap there right at 88 to 89. How's that? So get me above 85 on Nike. It is below the 50-day. That's not a good sign. So if we're looking for more downside action, let's say 77.15 for below. So if the economy slows or consumer spending slows, Nike's going to get hit. So keep that in mind. 77.15 to the downside, 85.10 to the upside. Hello, Amazon. Amazon, thank God I didn't go for those longs. I wanted to, with the break of 191, I wanted to play the 195 calls. I even told our members, and I said, man, I really want them, but we're going to stick with what we got. Thank God, because we pulled back. So let's go ahead and wait for the break of the highs, 191.68. Then we can do the 195s, but they also report, I believe, next week. So I would stay away. Be very careful with earnings. Good morning, Carlos. Is it a good idea to short Triple M and CAT towards the gap fill levels? That depends on where their earnings are, when the earnings are. So in terms of 3M, they just reported, I believe, or they are going to report 10/21. No, they reported already. What are we looking for here? Let's break below 120.38 on 3M. And again, this is the assumption there is even options volume here. Triple M rarely does. And again, this is an old company, 3M, chemicals and stuff. You can get down to 105. Listen, I have nothing against shorting it based on the technicals, fine. It's just you have to find volume to trade. If you only have 2 contracts out there trading, your spreads are going to be wide. And again, easy to buy, hard to sell. So I would just wait for the break of 120.39 and then you can play the 105 puts. Let's take a look at Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar has better options volume, historically speaking, but their spreads are wide. So what I'm expecting here is to get us back to around 380. And if we do, I would probably take a look at buying that dip on Caterpillar. The only thing that's going to hurt Caterpillar, in my opinion, is China. If China keeps slowing down, maybe they do a little more stimulus, that's fine. But you do have a gap here at 373. So let's just play with this alert at 379.98. We'll allow that to break. If it gets us to 373, fair enough. If there is volume for 375 or 370 puts, we will take a look at it. But we need this break first. You can see that it is up this morning. So unless you break above 400, then you're looking at all-time highs anyways, which are very difficult to trade. Jack is asking about SPY. Bounced off the 20. That's good. Your support level is 576.37. Is it a buy the dip day? Could be. But the problem with options is that if you're buying it for tomorrow and you get chopped up, doesn't matter right or wrong. You're just going to get eaten up with your premiums. So I think S&P futures are probably a better trade here than SPY, just for the fact that we really don't have catalysts out there. All we have is Fed speakers and Tesla. That was pretty much the big one. And some airlines here and there. UPS reported as well. But just not enough juice. Now, next week, maybe. But we'll go over that in our video over the weekend. Target and Hood, mid to long-term outlook. I think Target long-term is fine. Robinhood is a different story. Robinhood is really based on one thing, trading volume, right? So if people are trading, then Robinhood's going to be fine. Target, kind of the alternate, or kind of the same deal. If people are shopping, they're going to do fine. In terms of the actual chart on Target, it's a mess. It's not much to do here. You do have a downside gap at 136.89. Target long-term is fine. Walmart is probably better just for the fact that their online presence is stronger than Target. To me, Target's very niche. Target is, I hate Walmart and I don't want to order online. I want to take a look at things. And Target is very masterful at getting those extra little things around the house or, additional sales at point of sale, let's just say. In terms of Walmart in comparison, yeah, Walmart has a bigger footprint online, bigger footprint online as well, or store fronts around the nation. But Target, again, I don't think I would expect the same kind of comp the way Walmart does. Target to me is just an alternative to the big box store of Walmart. Even though Target is a big box store, just seems more specialty. So what that means is that when it comes to the stock itself, you're not going to get a lot of demand in terms of, buying and selling among large investors. If anything, large investors want retail exposure on the big boys, Walmart and Amazon. Those are the two that are going to fight each other forever in terms of a retail space or retail footprint. Costco is kind of the only outlier out there. I would say those three. I just don't like Walmart personally, just for the fact that the grocery side, their margins are very razor thin. So I think Target is a little better in terms of a higher beta, meaning it's going to move in terms of a multiple higher. So when things are really good, just like the economy is right now, Target should thrive. But as things slow down, Walmart does a little better. So kind of look at it that way. If we're looking at Target above 167.57, you're taking a look at 180. You do have a gap to fill from earnings at 136.89. Let's take a look at Hood. Now, Robinhood's been on fire. They actually have a new platform as well. I think they're adding futures trading as well. So looking great. And pretty much I could tell you what's probably going to happen is that Hood will probably just get back to 40. And let's just say if it did. And let's say if it got back to 40, right around that area, you're going to get some selling. Anyone who invested back in 2021 at the IPO, at that peak, and they make that back, they're going to sell it and be happy that they got their money back. That's happened to a lot of stocks out back in the day. Especially ones that had IPOs. But it's a long way around, a long way from there on Robinhood. Doesn't mean we can't trade up there. So let's see if we break the recent highs of 27.73. And if we do, we'll keep an eye on the volume and see if anything stands out. We've traded Hood before. We've done well, sometimes not, but we know how the chart works. Great questions. Thanks, guys. Let's take a look at Instagram. Any questions this morning? No. Today's time to be a bull. Well, I mean, as much as yesterday was a time to be a bear, I guess. It's just back and forth. This is from Family Finance Food. I love the name. It's just back and forth, to be quite honest. At the end of the day, it's teasing bulls and teasing bears. Let's say yesterday you saw that big fall yesterday and you went short. You probably got smoked today, thinking that, oh, Tesla will miss on earnings. Tesla was priced into hell. And a lot of that, guys, was, let's be real, that's political bias towards Elon Musk. And again, I understand everyone has their political leanings, but in the stock market, it is a poker game and perception is everything. There's a lot of people who are not fans of Elon Musk, and I understand why, both sides, if you're a fan, if you're not a fan, but that affects the stock. And a lot of people were very bearish. They just got squeezed out. That's the market, and it can be very brutal. Again, a lot of people thinking, oh, that cyber taxi thing didn't work out. The deliveries were terrible. Whoops. That's what happens. And again, a lot of bad news is priced into Tesla. We had the delivery and we had the cyber taxi event. Not making a lot of people happy then. Everyone's happy now. But keep in mind, guys, we're still far away from that double top at 260. So, yes, great move, but Tesla needs more. That's all. Good call. Apple's still a good name. They'll always have their own products, but Tesla's ascending. Say SPY. I say SPY is bullish. I agree 100%. SPY is bullish, at least for next year in 2025. 2026, we'll revisit. I think that's where everyone needs taking some chips off the table. Midterm elections are usually bad news. Tesla's up, absolutely. Do you think Tesla will this new gap up? Will fill this new gap up? It could, absolutely. Again, as we get towards the election, let's just say Kamala Harris wins, Vice President Harris, and Elon has said all these things about her. I would assume Tesla will fall if she wins the election. Duh. And let's turn that, if Trump wins, Tesla's going to soar. I mean, it's so binary. I mean, it's very, very difficult to make these predictions because we don't know. All we're doing is probabilities. It's the blackjack table. You know, when you got tens, when you got threes, when you have different hands, it changes the dynamic right away. Last one. Can we take a look at Tesla stock? I mean, at AT&T stock. Let's take a look at it. AT&T breaking out, doing great. This one was a very nice one, but it still has more to go. Take a look at that. We were as high as 32, 33 back in what year? This is probably back in 2017. So as much as AT&T has done well, absolutely on the 1 hour and pushing higher, it still has a lot to go. We'll keep an eye on the options volume. But for right now, it looks very bullish. At least on the daily, it's a complete breakout and no more gaps to fill. So that's really good news on AT&T. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I'm running against the time. Have a great rest of your morning, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Cheers all.